Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another session by Enlightening India. Today, we'll be reading the ninth chapter of the book, Five Go to Smuggler's Top. Before we begin, let's quickly remember what happened in the last few chapters. So, the children reach Smuggler Top and they are adjusting to life there. They have to hide Timmy so that nobody else sees. So, the whole getting out, taking a passage to the market area, and then having a walk, and then coming back, having the dinner. So, they're getting accustomed to all of this and that's where the story ends in the last chapter. And also we also get to meet Block, Sarah, the workers in Suti's house, and Suti's parents and his sister. So now that we know everyone, let's see what this chapter brings on for us. Chapter 9, Who is in the Tower? Sounds exciting, right? Let's read on. One night, Julian was awakened by someone opening his door. He sat up at once. Who is it? He said. Me, Sooty, said Sooty's voice, very low. I say, I want you to come and see something. Julian woke Dick, and the two of them put on their dressing gowns. Sooty led them quietly out of the room and took them to a strange little room, tucked away in an odd wing of the house. All kinds of things were kept here trunks and boxes, old toys, chests of old clothes, broken vases, and that had never been mended, and many other worthless things. So one night when Julian and Dick were sleeping in the boys' room, Sooty comes in and tells the boys that he wants to show them something. So he leads them to a room in the house where all the old things are kept. So a storage room, okay. And then he points at the window. Look, said Sooty, taking them to the window. They saw that the little room had a view of the tower belonging to the house. It was the only room in the house that did, for it was built at a queer angle, at a strange angle. The boys looked, and Julian gave an exclamation. Someone was signaling from the tower. So Sooty took them to a room. Through its window, you could see one of the towers of Smuggler's Top of the house. Okay. And in the dead of the night, so when it was completely dark on a night, at the night time, in that tower, somebody was signaling. Somebody was using a lamp or a torch to signal to someone. I don't know where, we don't know where, but somebody was there doing shady stuff. A light there flashed every now and again, in and out, pause, flash, flash, in and out, pause. So the light was flashing in a particular rhythm. So this means somebody is actually there and doing it. Okay. This seems very strange, right? Everybody should be fast asleep. Everybody should be sleeping. Why is somebody doing this? The light went regularly on and off in a certain rhythm. Now, who's doing that? Whispered Sooty. Your father? Wondered Julian. Don't think so, said Sooty. I think I heard him snoring away in his room. We could go and find out though. See if he really is in his bedroom. Well, for goodness sake, don't let's get caught, said Julian, not at all liking the idea of prying about the hostess house. So they saw that somebody's obviously doing it because it's going on in a rhythm, and then they decide let's go and find out who it is. So now, right now, they don't know who it is. It could be Mr. Lenore, Mrs. Lenore, Block. These are the only 3, 4 people in the house, right? Who is doing this? So they're going to probably go and find that person. The kids, the boys, made their way to Mr. Lenore had his room. It was quite plain. He was there, for a low snoring came from behind the closed door. It may be Block up in the tower, said Dick. So now that Mr. Lenore's, they went outside Mr. Lenore's room and they could hear him snoring. So they understood that Mr. Lenore is obviously not the person in the tower, he's sleeping. So then Dick suggests it could be Block. He looks full of secrets. I wouldn't trust him an inch. I bet it's Block. Well, shall we go to his room and see if it's empty? Whispered Sooty. Come on, if it's Block signaling, he's doing it without father knowing. Oh, your father might have told him to, said Julian, who felt that he wouldn't trust Mr. Lenore much further than he would trust Block. They went up the back stairs to the wing where the staff slept. Sarah slept in a room there with Harriet, the kitchen maid. There's one more employee here, Harriet. So now they're going to check whether Block is in his room, and they, while going to that area, they come to Sarah's room where Harriet and Sarah, two people, are sleeping. Block slept alone. Sooty pushed open Block's door very softly and slowly. When he had enough room to put in his head, he did so. The room was full of moonlight. By the window was Block's bed, and Block was there. Sooty could see the humpy shape of his body and the black round patch that was his head. He listened, but he could not catch Block's breathing. So the kids reach Block's room, and Sooty peeks inside. He slowly opens the door and he sees his Block actually there. Is he in bed? And then he sees the shape of Block's body. He must have had a comforter or a bed sheet over him, so he was sleeping that way. He sees a person lying there, and he also sees Block's head, but he does not hear anybody breathing. When you sleep, you snore, there's some noise, right? He does not hear any noise. He must sleep very quietly. Sooty withdrew his head and pushed the other two boys quietly down the back stairs. Was he there? Whispered Julian. Yes, so it can't be him signaling up in the tower, said Sooty. Well, who can it be then? I don't like it. It couldn't possibly be Mother or Sarah or the little kitchen maid. So they decide that they don't know who it is. Let's see. Is there a stranger in our house? Someone we don't know living here in secret? This seems impossible, right, kids? But it's a very big house, and this is just the kids throwing around ideas. No, it can't be, said Julian, a little shiver running down his back. So he was very shocked and probably scared also. So a little shiver running down his back means he was slightly scared. Look here, what about us going up to the tower and trying to peep through the door or something? We would soon find out who it was then. Perhaps we ought to tell your father. So the kids decide that they will go and find who's there in the tower. Very brave kids, right? No, we'll not tell my father for now. I want to find out a whole lot more before I say anything to anyone, said Sooty, sounding obstinate. So obstinate means stubborn. He was fixed. He knew what he wanted to do. He said he will go and find out who it is, and then we'll tell my father. Let's creep up to the tower. We shall have to be jolly careful though. So they decide they'll go up to the tower, they'll go in the tower, take the staircase there, but they'll be very careful. You get to it by a spiral staircase, rather narrow. There's nowhere much to hide if anyone suddenly came down out of the tower. So they get to the bottom of the tower, and there's a spiral staircase. You guys must have seen it in movies. A staircase which is circular and going upwards. So there's nowhere to hide. If a person starts coming from the top and you are climbing from down, you just can't hide anywhere, right? Because it's so narrow. What's in the tower? Whispered Dick as they made their way through the dark and silent house. Thin streaks of moonlight coming in here and there between the cracks of the closed curtain. So now they're getting to the tower, okay? Yeah, and it's rather scary traveling through a big dark house. So there's nothing much in the tower, just a table and a chair or two, and a bookcase of books, said Sooty. We use it on hot summer days when the breeze gets in strongly through the windows there, and we can see a long way all around us. They came to a little landing. From this, a winding narrow stairway of stone went up to the rounded tower. So the kids were traveling. Sooty tells them there's nothing much of importance in the tower, only a table and a chair here and there. And after traveling through the dark, empty house, which was only lit by moonlight, they come to the staircase. It's made of stone and it's a spiral staircase. The boys looked up. Moonlight fell on the stairway from a slit like window in the wall. We should better not all go up, said Sooty. We should find it so difficult to hurry down, three of us, if the person in the tower suddenly comes out. So this is very smart of Sooty. When they come there, there's no light on, okay? The only source of light is the moonlight coming through the window. And Sooty tells them, let's not all go up. Let one person go, because say if the person starts coming down, the person who is in the tower right now at the top, if he starts coming down the staircase, then if there are three people going up, they will not all be able to turn around and run away, right? Because it's a very narrow staircase. Sooty says, I will go. You stay down here and wait. I will see if I can spy anything through the crack in the door or the keyhole. So he decides he'll go up the staircase. There's a door to the main tower at the top, and he'll peek in through the keyhole. He crept softly up the stairway, soon lost to view as he rounded the first spiral. Julian and Dick waited in the shadows at the bottom. There was a thick curtain over one of the windows there, and they got behind it, wrapping its folds around them for warmth. So Sooty goes up, brave little fellow, and Julian and Dick hide behind a window that is there on the at the ground. It's they are not going up, right? So they're still at the bottom of the staircase. They just hide there behind a window, behind the curtain of the window. Sooty crept up to the top, so he went slowly to the top. The tower room had a stout oak door. So the tower room had a small, short oak door, studded and barred. It was shut. It was no use trying to look through the crack because there wasn't one. He bent down to peer through the keyhole, but that was stuffed up with something, so he could not see through that either. So he reaches the door and his plan has failed, because when he looks through the keyhole, maybe there's a key inside from the other side, or maybe somebody has just stuffed paper so that nobody gets to see through the keyhole. Rather mysterious. So now he tries to listen if there is anyone inside. He pressed his ear to the door and listened. He heard a series of little clicks. Click, 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 click. Nothing else at all. That's the click of the light they're using, thought Sooty. Still signaling like mad. What for? Who to? And who is in our tower room using it as a signaling station? How I wish I knew. Suddenly the clicking stopped. So Sooty reaches there, and when he puts his ear to the door, he hears the click click sound that is being used to operate the light. When the person is oning the light and switching off the light, a click sound is coming. And Sooty hears that. He's worried. It's my house, and who is there in the tower room when everybody is sleeping? Is there a robber? Is there a stranger? Who has access to our house? Suddenly the sound stopped. There was the sound of someone walking across the stone floor of the tower, and almost at once the door opened. Sooty had no time to hurry down the stairs. All he could do was to squeeze into a niche and hope that the person would not see him or touch him as he went by. So Sooty is at the door, and suddenly the other person stops the light and he opens the door and starts coming down. Maybe that person is done with whatever he was doing and he's going away. Now there wasn't a lot of place to hide at a staircase, right? So Sooty sees a small dark area on the staircase and just stands there very silently, hoping that nobody hears him, that person does not hear him, and he just stands in the dark. The moon went behind a cloud at that moment, and Sooty was thankful to know he was hidden in a black shadow. So luckily for Sooty, where he was standing, there was moonlight coming, but at that very moment, the moon went behind the cloud, and he was standing in pitch darkness, pitch black darkness. Someone came down the stairs and actually brushed against Sooty's arm. Sooty jumped almost out of his skin. He got so scared, expecting to be hauled out of his niche. But the person did not seem to notice and went down the spiral stairway, walking softly. Sooty did not dare to go down after him, for he was afraid the moon would come out and cast his shadow down for the signaler to see. So when the person comes out, the signaler, uh, he actually sort of slightly just brushes against Sooty's arm. Okay, but thankfully, fortunately for Sooty, that person does not notice. We still don't know who the stranger in the house is. And Sooty decided not to follow him because it was not worth the risk. It was very risky, so he just stayed hidden. So he stayed squeezed in his niche, hoping that Julian and Dick were well hidden and would not think it was he, Sooty, who was walking down the stairs. Yeah, important, right? If one person starts coming down, Julian and Dick, who are downstairs, might think that Sooty is coming and they might say, "Hey, Sooty, what did you find?" And this is that other stranger. Julian and Dick heard the soft footsteps coming and thought at first it was Sooty, logically. Then, not hearing his whisper, they stiffened behind the curtains, guessing that it was the signaler himself who was walking by. Smart of the boys, right? Since Sooty did not say hi or anything, they thought maybe it's that stranger. Luckily for them, they were right. We should better follow him, whispered Julian to Dick. Come on, quiet now. So they decide that they will follow the stranger. But Julian got muddled up with the great curtains and could not seem to find his way out. Dick, however, slipped out easily enough and padded after the disappearing person. So the person was now leaving the tower, and Julian and Dick decided to follow him. Julian could not get out of the curtain. He probably got muddled up in the curtain somehow. It's a very big curtain, right? But Dick, he got free and he went. The moon was now out again, and Dick could catch glimpses of the signaler as he went past the moonlight streaks. Keeping well in the shadows himself, he darted quietly after him. Where was he going? He followed him across the landing to a passage. So now he's following this stranger person throughout the house. Okay, quite scary. Then across another landing and up the back stairs. But those led to the staff bedrooms. So the person was going to the staff bedrooms. Quite odd, right? Since Sarah, the housemaid, and Block were all sleeping. So who is this fourth person? Surely the person was not going there, thought Dick. But to his enormous surprise, he saw the person disappear silently into Block's room. He crept to the door, which had been left a little ajar. So, when a door is left a little ajar, that means the door is slightly open. There was no light in the room except that of the moon. There was no sound of talking, nothing at all, except a creak which might have come from the bed. So, he follows that strange person to Block's room, but we know Block lives alone, right? And there's no fourth person. So after he does that, the person does not close the door fully. So he slightly peeks in, and he does not see anything. It's all completely dark. There's no sound except there's a creak of the bed. So maybe somebody got on the bed, maybe somebody left it, maybe somebody hit the bed. Some sound. That's the only noise that was made. Dick peeped in through the ajar door, right? Full of the most intense curiosity. So he was very curious. What is this? Would he see the man waking up Block? Would he see him climbing out of the window? He stared around the room. There was no one there at all, except Block lying in bed. The moonlight lit up the corners, and Dick could quite plainly see that the room was empty. Only Block lay there, and as Dick watched, he heard him give a sigh and roll over in bed. So when Dick peeped in through the door, the only person he saw was Block. He thought that he will maybe get to see the other person speaking to Block, or maybe that other person getting out of a window in Block's room. But the only person there was Block. That's the strangest thing I've ever seen, thought Dick, puzzled. A man goes into a room and completely disappears without a single sound. Where could he have gone? He went back to find the others. Sooty, by this time, had crept down the spiral staircase and had found Julian, who had explained that Dick had gone to follow the strange signaler. They went to find Dick and suddenly bumped into him, creeping along quietly in the darkness. They all jumped violently, and Julian almost cried out, but stifled his voice just in time. So Dick decides that, okay, there's nothing much to see here, and he decides he'll go back to the children, Sooty and Julian. And Sooty and Julian decide that they will now go and find Dick. So when they were going, suddenly in the dark passage, when they were finding each other in the empty house, they were going towards each other. They bumped into each other, and obviously everybody got scared, right? Yes. Golly, you gave me a scare, Dick, he whispered. Well, did you see who it was and where he went? Dick told him of his experience, of the strange experience that he had. He simply went into Block's room and vanished, said Dick. Is there any secret passage leading out of Block's room, Sooty? No, none, said Sooty. That wing is much newer than the rest of the house and hasn't any secrets in at all. I simply can't imagine what happened to the man. How very strange. Who is he and why does he come? And where on earth does he go? We really must find out, said Julian. So now they were all very surprised, worried, sort of did not have answers. And Julian says, we need to find out some answers. We need some answers. What is going on in this house? It's such a mystery, Sooty. How did you know there was a signaling going on from the tower? Well, some time ago I found it, quite by accident, said Sooty. I couldn't sleep, and I went along to that funny little box room place and ferreted about for an old book. So one day when Sooty could not sleep, he just went to that old room where old things were stored, the storage room that we discussed at the start, and just to find an old book. And suddenly, when he had looked up the tower, he saw a light flashing there. This is a long time back. This is a story that he's telling that had happened with him a long time ago, right? That is how he found about this. Funny, said Dick. Well, I went along there at night a good many times after that to see if I could see the signals again, said Sooty. And at last I did. The first time I'd seen them, there was a good moon, and the second time there was two. So I thought next time there's a moon, I'll creep along to that old box room and see if the signaler is at work again. So based on Sooty's deductions, he had gone to that room many times after that in the night just to check whether anybody was signaling. And he had seen that person, that stranger, signaling two times when there was a full moon. So very strange, right? And so today was another day that there was a full moon, and Sooty just decided to confirm his hypothesis, to confirm his reasoning. He went to that room, and surely there was a person flashing. So on a full moon night, that person flashes the light for someone, for something we don't know at all. Neither do we know who that person is. Where does that window look out on that we saw in the light flash, that we saw the light flashing from? Asked Julian thoughtfully. The seaward side or the landward? Seaward, said Sooty at once. So the window where the light is, that points to the sea. There is something or someone out at sea that receives those signals. Goodness knows who. Some kind of smugglers, I suppose, said Dick. But it can't be anything to do with your father, Sooty. I say, let's go up into the tower, shall we? We might find something there or see something. They went back to the spiral staircase and climbed up the tower room. It was dark, for the moon was behind a cloud. But it came out after a while, and the boys looked out of the seaward window. There was no mist at all that night. They could see the flat marshes stretching away to the sea. They gazed down in silence. So the kids decided that they will look out from the tower room on actually where is this light being flashed to. So they go there and they see it's a good full moon day, and there is no mist at all. So it's completely clear, and they could see the flat marshes because there was no mist. They gazed down in silence. So gazed means looking at something, maybe by concentrating, but looking straight up, looking at something. Then the moon went in and darkness covered the marsh. Suddenly, Julian clutched the others, making them jump. I can see something, he whispered. Look beyond there. What is that? They all looked. It seemed like a tiny line of very small dots of light. They were so far away that it was difficult to see if they stayed still or moved. So when they were outside the window, when suddenly the moon went behind a cloud, they saw that someone from the sea was blinking small dots of light. So this means that someone from this room, this stranger in this house, was talking to someone who was in the sea, probably in a boat. Okay. Then the moon came out again, flooding everywhere with silvery light, and the boys could see nothing except the moonshine. So suddenly the moon came back. But when the moon went in again, there was a light of tiny prickling light again. A bit nearer, surely, whispered Sooty. Smugglers coming over a secret path from the sea to Castaway Hill. Smugglers. So the children, with this light, which was gradually coming towards the bait, it was coming towards the house, towards the sea end where it meets the land. So there was somebody definitely coming here, and there was somebody from the house who was signaling. So the children scream out that it would be smugglers. End of chapter 9. So this has been a rather exciting chapter. There's a mystery popping up, and there is definitely someone in the house who's into shady stuff, who's probably helping out smugglers or some other people who this person should not probably help. And there is someone who is using this help and probably doing something illegal. We don't have the answers right now, but looking forward to meeting all of you in the next one, and probably we'll have answers then. Thank you for joining us for this session.